Year of High Consequence, day 8, video 5. But it is day 1 of Firehorse, so I guess I'm on it, man. I want to get some things out there. One of the things I want to say, there's different things that need to be said to the different constituencies on Earth. One of them is, what are we saying to this new empowered Americans graduate class of Gen Z and the ones that aren't even going to college and all that? A vision of a future that makes sense, as well as a way to get there. And people on, there's all this, you can make careers out of criticizing little aspects of why this civilization is the way we have it is not satisfying. And then you get little band-aid solutions like, we'll pretend to have community and make you feel a little better. There's so many ways to just not face it. And it's part of the old paradigm that has us separate, both in our careers and in how we approach everything, how we get everything we need. Purchasing collectives is a simple way of saying, why don't somebody research the best of what we all can get and then buy bulk versions of that and all save a lot of money? But we're all too kind of lazy for that because we're mesmerized with the fact that, first of all, we are very capable and can do a lot of things and put up with a lot of BS. But we're all working jobs or just really disempowered and just barely getting by. And, if you didn't have to work 9 to 5, 5 days, you could put some time into having a little farm, or say, now, how can we get to that? So you could do it after work, or people that are out of a job already, you could start getting it happening, make it happen, start making it happen. And then you get people making time for that. But then you got to have possibly businesses that's what they do. And as I say, if you're just going to coordinate people doing their own front yards with permaculture and assist where they're not going to be able to do it, and both with information and college kids putting in a few hours, that's not a for-profit scheme, but it's a scheme that enlivens the whole community and makes it joyous and gets people thinking about other things they can do. And you throw some artists in there and you have creativity and you start folding in all the functions of community and vitality and resource. Like, especially you could do that with all the educational aspects. All the information is already free. So what are these universities and colleges really going to do? There's so much we need to adapt to in the next few years. People aren't quite facing it yet. There's a lot of fear-mongering and doom scrolling about what AI is going to do by way of losing people's jobs. There's a big disconnect there with, you think you're going to keep an economy going when you put everybody out of work? AI is going to be making profit and economies for who? For nobody. You know what I'm saying? But there's other disconnects which people keep complaining about the repercussions and side effects and consequences of a thing that's inherently flawed, because we only get things done by working together, but we don't work together with inherent logic and joy of belonging and understanding. We work together with instructions from the boss. He's not telling you everything because we're all covering each other's ass. And it's I'm not being critical. I am. But I'm not saying, let's not point fingers. It's what we've had for millennium, I dare say. It came apart at a certain point. It not come apart. It's what happens when you move forward into global systems and anything larger than the inherently or organically sized tribes of old. And now, and it's released all kinds of technologies and information and ways of doing things. And now we need to wise up and pull that all together. And we have the capacity to do it. That's what AI should be telling us. AI should be saying, stop trying to make money, you guys. Use me to coordinate a more intelligent future. So I don't want to do AI because, for one, all of my little monies that I have is enough to survive are being screwed, and I'm going to try to get to the flyers and things. But this is where I can start using some allies. I know I can muster some money and shit with art. There's so many ways to enhance value when you start working together intelligently. And the next phase is doing this on the ground, and I'm going to be documenting all the attempts. But the logic of it is, it's more radical to, instead of these, God, out in the street protesting what? The powers that are, that's going to keep going. But the politics only responds to what's actually happening on the ground in terms of the way things really are. The politics is not what's moving things. If we start manifesting new businesses, And it can start with the consumers, and which means regular people understanding community based and the logic of it, and then apps that guide you there. The whole idea of a purchasing collective, there's nobody. That's not a big investment. That's not a. So there's so many things that can be done once you understand where we're heading, that enliven and make it joyous. I want to say if it's not fun, we're not doing it right. But people are not even just can't get to that. I know. Oh, I want to. Another aspect of this is who am I to do all this? Um, Outside the box. I've been resisting trying to get caught up, and I've had the luxury, but also, I mean, Dad hooked me up with some because he was an architect, has the Gucci account, and therefore I could possibly get through to see Trump if I have anything intelligent to say. I think there's something to be said to the right wing venture capitalists that what you could do more intelligently, which would get everyone on your side, and this is to the elites in general. The wealth needs to be grounded in co-op ownership, and this can be done incrementally, and they don't have to give up their role as leaders and elites. Yes, still you could be an elite where we all have enough so that nobody's begrudging your luxuries because we all feeling satisfied that we're getting what we need. Especially, but I think what we really want to preserve about the modern culture is the ability for each one of us to choose our own interests and expand our knowledge, and that would be real wealth. This is why AI should be in the service of our own understanding things more intelligently, not giving us shortcuts to not have to do the work, especially in art. If you're not doing the work of art, you're not really feeling it. And it's kind of, I really see through all the AI art, I got to say. It's shallow, but it's easy. The visuals are intense. And one thing it's doing is it's making us all mistrust the medium. And you can't tell if politicians are really saying what they're saying. Begin with what they're saying already sounds a little cartoon like. And I want to say the Trump derangement thing is a real red herring. Please everyone off of that one. So you real human being trying to do whatever the best he can, and it's that he would be such a unicorn, a strange one. Is not a surprise. This is a very difficult and quirky civilization we've got going. But a lot of it is understandable. People doing their best in the context of a harsh reality. But we've already overcome. I mean, when people work together, it's such a sweetheart, beautiful thing. And we just feel like there's no way to bring it back to that because we have to compromise where everyone's getting their monies and everything. It's all about where the food, the energy. We do have ways of getting energy more intelligently. The oil, burn it up. If we burn it up in the service of getting to a new economy that really understands how to ground resources intelligently with co-op ownership and membership and belonging, and I'm talking straight to the elites right now, please, you guys. Obviously, you got to keep doing what you're doing and not let your thing crash. And this is something that can start incrementally with people that get it. And you can start describing the logic beyond what's actually happening. You create directories of things that get the logic of this. We should have intelligent discussions among people that have the new values that understand that. Most people are stuck in trying to sell something. I'm not. So I have to take, and I've been all along, I understand my responsibility to try to see it from an outside the box of not having to try to sell something. So that's why these are not a professional podcast. This is why you're getting first takes because I don't have the time. And also, I could use some allies. I'm the content. I've focused on being true to in my intuitions and my contact visioning, and I'm open to all these perspectives. I'm trying to take the best from all sides. There's a lot to be said from the whole Christian values of a strong man, understanding the thing is masculine values. It's not necessarily um, the actual male versus female. And it so happens my best friend was people are born hermaphrodite, and you have to make a choice sometimes. Our front line in our football team was a girl that they turned. She was hermaphrodite. She was a really strong girl. She's wonderful. I love her. Lesbian. even the word bothers me. It's just beautiful. And the whole idea of trans, it's like, yeah, the idea that the right saying, gosh, just don't do it to kids. You have to give them a chance to understand who they are because we're such complex human beings. There's a high ground from all these different things and all these distractions. And people are getting lost in the social issues when really what everybody's feeling is the disempowerment economically. And even when you get to that, they're thinking, what are the goddamn options? And you're trying to, I'm saying this whole idea of bringing it back to community when we see the logic of it, and you can see the end game that you're going to end up getting your resources in a stable way by working for companies that are based on the logic of grounding resources and eventually, getting it to co-op ownership. You could have the meritocracy within each community, within each business or community, and it all doesn't have to be about businesses. Guilds of old, the current, all current things that are actually about working together. They don't have to be so competitive, and they don't have to be so exclusive, and then all where the sharing is possible. There's now the logic for sharing. The logic for sharing involves understanding who your community is. Otherwise, you're just sharing and giving it away, and that just attracts people that try to steal. So that's again the right wing versus the left wing. The right wing about being responsible and keeping the books. The left wing says everybody should get some of this. It's like, yeah, you got to be part of making it in the first place, then you'll understand how much it's worth. And the idea they're just going to give it away by decree creates all kinds of problems. And so now the left is pointing fingers to the right as being greedy and selfish when they need to be thinking of all of us. And more importantly, they're trying to say, you're all going down because we got to think of the planet and the ecology of the planet. But even if you don't believe in ecology, we're all going down because you got to think of the economy and how that's got to be intelligible. And the way we've got it set up, it creates elites that makes most of us suffer. And the elites got to put themselves in other people's shoes and understand we're trying to get a world that works for all of us. Um, but if you're one of the elites, the logic that, hey man, this thing doesn't look, they don't understand how there's any way this can be saved because they don't believe the people have it in them to be that responsible or whatever. I don't care what they believe. They know that right now, it looks like just to maintain any semblance of civilization, they got to survive. But and so this people don't want to believe that we have a short timeline in terms of things starting to crash. And I don't know. Who knows? I know that if we start pulling it together, there's nothing lost by trying to pull it together. There's a lot to be gained, and it's much more joyful to bring it to a more intelligible logic. There's a whole industry to be made about the idea that we can never figure it out, and it's always going to be a mystery. So you're always going to have to pay some expert to give you their latest weird thoughts about it. And I say, bullshit. We're coming to a place where it does start making sense no matter where you're coming from. I say metaphysically, the idea that you could have a masculine creator intentionality overriding the material plane, now that's a leap. But the idea that the whole cosmos is based on presencing and a force of what we can call spirit, that's getting proved in the real world. So we're getting to the place where the other thing's not even that far-fetched. The idea that you could have, for example, intelligent design coming from a spirit dimension or some other intelligible dimension. You can imagine it coming from within atoms, especially at the physics. It's primal. Even if you want to say that everything is about, because it's a one flavor, it's one energy in different packets. And it starts to resemble the one mind of the Buddhist, and especially pre-Tibetan, gets really precise. Uh, our essence is emptiness, our nature lucidity, and our energy ever arising. And what is that? Nothing. It just says out of the nothingness, here we are, yay, and we keep coming back. Looks like, feels like. Doesn't actually explain a thing, right? And the physics explains something. We all came from a super dense point of smaller than anything. Boom, and know everything now. Yeah, but after that, everything's explained. Okay, all right, and we see how that works. So there's still missing pieces, right? And you got the intentionality thing overlaid on that with a lot of people that believe it because some of it's feeling it. They feel it. A lot of people that believe the the Jesus story and the Jehovah story, Jesus was for sure for real. And did he pull off miracles? Would people be letting themselves be eaten by lions if they didn't really get a connection with something serious? And there's a lot of good information. I think the Christians misread a lot of the Bible. The Bible says heaven on earth means we're going to cure poverty. But the whole Bible story is meant for people to connect with spirit without having to understand the existential, uh, paradoxical nature of it, which is a three-sided paradoxical nature. So the Trinity from the Christian side is a shorthand for the Trinity of what beingness itself is. There's a side that your Jehovah version of, like, you're gonna say what happens, and then there's the body, which is like, yeah, it hurts, and that's kind of the Christ part that makes it more universal. And then there's the intuitive aspect of where are we? That could be the Holy Ghost. It's part of what you are experiencing right now. And this is the end of this one. See you later.